here's my truth. I need your help with something, and I'll tell you in just a minute as I'm working through this. So, yesterday, I used a tool. I did an exercise about how to notice how my walls come up when I feel like I need to defend myself. So, that's not what I need your help with. So, here's the part where I really need your help. So you let me know. I do know that everybody's struggling, and that's why I'm sharing publicly what I'm going through and what I'm trying to get better at. And I know that everybody's struggling, and you know that everybody's struggling, and you're probably struggling with a few things. We all have something that we know we should work through, improve, change, and whatever. We all know it. And where I don't know what it's like for other people, let me just ask other people, is when we know that there's something we need to work through, what happens or what goes through our minds when we know that and we simply don't make a move? We don't take the steps to improve ourselves. I'm asking this because there's people that I know, and there's also people that I don't really know personally, of course, that I know they're going through something. And there isn't much you can do when someone is not deciding to do something, when someone is not deciding to take steps forward. There isn't much you can do. So, what I'm trying to work through here, I'm asking for your help here, is what do you think is the reason why people simply still do not take the steps to do something? Now, I know that it has to do with truth and courage. And the reason why I know that is that that's what I've seen for me, and that's also what I've seen for a number of people around me as well that have been able to break through and improve themselves. When you start telling the truth to yourself first, when you start telling the truth, you will see the things that you are struggling with, like for real. You will start to see them. They will start to be more clear to you, and you will start to not be able to avoid them anymore. You know they're there, and you tell the truth to yourself and others potentially. And that's the beginning of the improvement journey. You tell the truth, you look at the truth, and you don't look away. My guess is that people don't want to look deep, deep at their own truths, but I don't know. So this is where I need your help. Let me know. Please let me know in the comment section what you think the reasoning is behind that. I'm curious to see what it's like for different people, or just your opinion in general. I want to know that why do people struggle so much to look at their own truth? Now, I have my take on that, my opinion on that, but I want to know what you think is the reasoning behind that. Some of the things that I think are behind that is when you choose to look at your truth, when you choose to look at your dark side, your shadows, when you choose to look at it. And this is what's been like for me when I chose to look at it and not look away anymore and really look at myself. I see all my imperfections. I see all the areas where I know that it's not good enough. I see all the parts of me that I'm not proud of. I see the struggles. I see where I'm broken. I see where I'm ashamed. I see all these things that I don't want to look at and that I don't want to talk about, that I don't want to show, and I don't want anyone to see, including myself. So I see all the areas where I'm vulnerable. I see all the places that I could hurt myself or get hurt by someone else. I see all of that. And it's a lot. It's a lot. It's really a lot. And I used to not want to look at it. I used to not want to look at it. And when I started to look at it, of course, you begin to look at yourself. And when you see these things, I'm not going to lie to you. The first reaction is, I'm not going to look at it. I don't have to look at it. And I turn the other way and I just move on. So that's been my behavior for a very long time. I just look away. There's no reason for me to do this. If nobody knows, then it's not real. But that's the problem. I know. And I know that for a long time, even when I knew, even when I looked away and I acted like there's absolutely nothing that I need to work on for myself, I realized that, well, I see myself from time to time in the mirror. It's like, even if you don't want to see yourself in the mirror at home, There's mirrors everywhere. Everywhere you go to, everywhere, every single place, there's going to be some sort of mirror. Some way, somehow, you're going to see a little bit of a reflection of who you are. You're going to get a glimpse. You're not really going to look at it, but it's going to manifest. You're going to see yourself. And I'm not just talking metaphorically. This is real. You are going to meet yourself from time to time. And I was meeting myself from time to time in small little moments, in small areas where I would meet myself. I would see myself. I would see parts of me that I felt like were not good enough and I was ashamed of, or I felt like it's ugly. And, based on who I really want to be, who I really want to become, based on that, who I really think I could be, based on that image, it would hurt me. It would show me all the places that I'm not good enough. I would compare like who I want to be and who I am today, and the image of who I could be would crush that. Would crush me in a moment, knowing that I could do better. I could be better. I could improve myself. And then there comes a point where I'm just like, I'm going to continue to meet myself. I'm going to continue to see myself in the mirror. I'm going to continue to get those little glimpses of my shadows, my dark side, all the things I don't want to talk about, all the things that I'm afraid of, I'm ashamed of, and I don't want to look at. All of the above, I'm going to continue to see it every now and then. It's going to come up and manifest itself. So I looked at myself in the mirror and I came to the conclusion that it doesn't matter how far I run away from myself. It doesn't matter how long I run away from myself. I know, and I'm going to continue to see myself in the mirror some way, somehow. If it's not at home, it's going to be somewhere else. I'm going to continue to see myself. I'm going to meet my shadows every now and then, and there's no running away from them. And I started to realize the only way forward, truthfully, is courageously integrate them. Integrate the things that I'm not proud of, the things that I'm ashamed of, the things that I'm afraid of. All of those things integrate my dark side with my good side, the things that I'm proud of, the things that I do think that I'm doing really well. And so it's an integration journey. And so it's been really a lot about courage. And this is where courage comes in. I looked at those things for a long time and I ignored them and I try to look away, try to ignore them. And the truth is, I can't hide from myself for a very long time. And there comes a point where you have to stop running away from yourself. There came a point where I had to stop running away from myself. And that's when courage comes in. And courage does not mean, in my opinion, that you're not afraid. I think courage means even though you are afraid, you make the decision, you choose to move forward, even when you are afraid, even when you don't know what's going to happen, even when you don't know where you're going to fail, where you're going to get hurt, where this is going to go. You don't know. But courage is, I took a leap of faith to better myself because I didn't see the alternative being something good. I looked at it, I mapped out my life like, what happens if I continue to live this way? What happens if I continue to look away from my shadows, from my darkness, from my mistakes, from my pain, from my fears, and on and on. I looked at it. I just mapped out my life. What kind of person would I be 10 years from now, 20 years from now, if I continue to live this way? I looked at it and it's just, I don't see anything good. I didn't see anything that would be in my favor if I continued to live that way. So I started making changes. I started to journal. I started to work on myself. I started creating ways for me to work on myself. I started dedicating time every week and also every day to work on myself. I started making these videos. I started sharing the things that I'm going through, that I'm struggling with, and I'm working on actively, and I'm getting better at every week. And I journal all that, and I publish all my mistakes, and I publish all my improvements. Things have really been good for me, and things have been really improving for me. So where I needed your help is please talk to me in the comments, because I'm trying to understand what it's like for other people. I'm not in other people's minds. I can only be in mine. And in my mind, when I mapped out my life and asked myself the question, what would my life be like if I continued to live this way? If I continued to look away from my truth, if I continued to look away from my shadows, if I continue to look away from my pain and my fears and all of the above, I didn't see anything good. So I decided to be courageous and look at it and do something about it. And I'm no longer afraid of that because I started with small steps. And now I see that I've gotten better. Now, there's still areas moving forward that currently I'm still afraid of, but I'm going to tackle those areas as well. And I'll be more courageous over time. That's what I believe, because I've seen the transformation that happens when I look at my shadows, I look at those things that I'm afraid of, and I talk about it, I do something about it, and I take courageous steps. I've seen what that's like for me. So I'm asking you, what is it like for you or the people around you? You don't have to answer this personally about yourself, but you can if you want to. I'm really trying to know and understand what it's like for other people. What stands in the way for you or someone you know to live really in truth with yourself? What stands in the way of looking at your truth, your deepest, darkest truths, your fears, your pain? What stands in the way of bringing those things up? Talk about it, look at it, and work through it. What stands in the way? And I also want to know what stands in the way of you or someone you know to take courageous steps, because I'm not saying that it's easy. I'm saying that it's real. It's real, and I know it's real. What is holding you back taking a courageous steps? Please let me know. Talk to me in the comments. Please talk to me. Please let me know what your take is on that. I'm curious, and I look forward to reading all the comments and learning from you. And I'm going to continue to do this, and I look forward to the next conversation that we will have. And even for me, I just want you to know that this is not easy for me to do, to just sit here and talk about my struggles every single week and publish, what went well and what went bad. It is not easy at all. There's days where I'm looking at the camera, I'm like, I don't know. That happens too, but I do it anyway. And it makes me a whole lot better. It makes me better. It improves me. Every single time that I face those hardships, those challenges, those things that I find difficult, I do this anyway. So what I'm asking you to do is to let every moment be your canvas and every breath be your brush, to live truthfully and live courageously. I did this, so you can do this too. My name is Chris Kasonga. Keep living an empowered life.